No. Oh, my name is Hartland Goodtrack. I'm a member of the Lakota First Nation in Wood Mountain. And I was born in October 11, 1938. So that makes me 72 years old. I'll be 73 this fall. And I guess that's what else you want to know.
Okay. Traditional parenting. What were some things, what were some of the important things your parents taught you growing up as a Lakota?
I was raised by my grandfather and my grandmother. And they adopted me. My grandfather was 66 years old, and my grandmother was 72 years old, and they were getting old. They had horses to look after, and wood. They have to carry wood for firewood to keep warm, and of course cut grass for feed the horses for the winter. And they were getting old. And 10 years from the time I was born, they knew that they weren't going to be able to do these things on their own. So when I was born, they took me from my mother, and they adopted me. And my grandfather always said my grandmother carried me from the house, and he didn't know that I was born. Carried me and told my grandmother. My grandmother told my grandfather, said, "Wanka le hokshila cha, ichach uina wachuya na ichach ki ha awayaka umpikte awaya uyakikte." She said, "Look at it as a little boy. We're gonna adopt him, and we'll raise him, and he'll look after us when he grows up." So that was the beginning. But of course, my grandmother didn't. She died when I was 5 years old. So there I was left. My grandfather was left with me. Anyway, he raised me, and he got what he wanted. I looked after him when I was able to cut wood, and cut grass, and hunt, and haul water, do all this stuff, because he was getting old, and he was kind of getting sickly, and he was in his late 70s, 80s. And he passed on when I was 17 years old. So there, I went working now. I went working on my own now. And one thing I was proud that they adopted me was because I think my grandmother knew how to talk English, but my grandfather didn't know how to talk English. He couldn't hardly speak it. I don't know why. There's other Lakotas his age were able to talk basically English, to get by. But he didn't know how to talk English. He just spoke Lakota. So that's my first language. I learned Lakota language, the first language. And I didn't start learning to talk English till I was about 7 years old. When I went to school, I couldn't hardly talk English, but I learned pretty fast. I think I learned pretty fast. So I can speak Lakota pretty good, because that's my first language. But since I was 17, I was working out. I left the reserve and I was working out. And I worked with a lot of Native people, but we didn't use the Lakota language, or we never used a Lakota language. We never talked Lakota. So, but I never forgot. I can speak Lakota pretty good yet, and I'm kind of disappointed I didn't teach my 3 daughters when they were young. Because my wife's a Dakota too. She's a Dakota. But I'm kind of kicking myself not to teach them, but I'm planning on teaching my grandchildren. But it's pretty hard. They are taking a little bit of classes in Dakota in school now, but I'm gonna, when they come back for school, if I'm home, I will continue on teaching them. Hopefully I can get them to learn. Talk, basically, Dakota is all the same. And
what were some of the things your grandpa told you, like in terms of values, respect, caring, and all these other things?
Yeah, I remember. He told me one time, I remember, when you grow up, you're going to be working. You're going to be working with Washechus, he said. You're going to be working with white men. And Taku Chakiao is respect them. Taku Chano Kelana Taku Chiao is you respect yourself. And if you respect yourself, you respect anybody that's around you. And he said, he never mentioned about education. But he said, as long as you can talk English, you got it made. Well, himself, he couldn't talk English, and he thought he was he had little stumbling blocks on whatever he'd do. And what he did was he used to cut pickets and sold pickets, and he'd take me along to sell pickets, fence posts to these ranchers and farmers around, and he used me. I don't know how I learned how to talk English, but I was learning to talk English pretty good, and he used me as his interpreter because he couldn't hardly speak English. And they used to talk a lot. And I never used to like it because when somebody tells you something in English, and I got to translate to my grandfather in Lakota, I can't say it the same way in Lakota as in English. The words are a little different. And I learned pretty fast. You don't have to. You just say it Lakota the way it should be, and then it'll come out the same words anyway. But he told me to respect everybody, respect yourself especially. So, and respect everything around you. Taku Chakio means respect everything. And that's what I did. Those are the words I always remember. Working with other people. I work with so many different other people that I work with some people for years and I don't even know their first names, just by their nicknames. And I think that's one of the basic things he taught me, was to respect everything around you and yourself especially, and people around that you work with.